table, just take data table, and you can see this here, some properties here we can. So once you this one, under the data table, you can see the multiple things. So now the first step is how we can create the data table. So for that purpose, we need to take build data table, just drag and drop. Once you did it, so just click that this data table. So downside, you can see that creates a data table according to the specified schema. Just click on this and you can see the multiple things, column 1, column 2. If you want add, just click on this add button and you can mention, as of now I mentioned column 3, and you can see the data type. So Gautam, already I told you now how we can declare this
Yes, yes.
same way you can
Yes,
take
sir.
anything is
Can I repeat? Can I repeat? Boolean is true or false?
0 or 1.
Integer is
Integer is storing
sorry.
like numbers, and
Yes,
string
yes,
is
yes.
alpha numerical, and special characters, whatever it should be, the double quotes.
Okay.
Okay, now let it be as of now. And if you want, you can check this unique values. So how we get the data tables having some unique values, similar way it will applicable for that. If you have any default value, you can mention the default value, and maximum length, you can change this as per the requirements, and you can add this column 3. So now I will rename this all the columns. Just I will make column name 1 as name. Okay. And column 2, I will make it as age. Okay. And column 3, I will mention as gender. Okay. So make sure that what type of data you're storing. So according to that, data type should be there.
Okay.
And come to downside. So you can add the name as whatever you want. And you can update this age and gender. You can do it. And similar way, you can add downside as well. Like whatever it may be, you can update the some data, random data, anything is fine.
Okay.
So this is not required, let it be. I just created only 2 rows of this data. So once you just click on this OK, now again go and check back. So data has been created. If you want add, you can add more and more, keep on. So how many you want, you can add it, not a problem. So once you created the data table, build the data table, go to this properties. So for each and every activity, properties is the important one. Okay, make sure that go and check properties, what type of data is available, just make sure that check. So here data table is there, whatever you store this data, so this enter the data, we need to store into one variable. So now I'm creating one variable which is called data table itself. Data table. Okay, just click on that. Okay. So now data table is created. So now I want to see the data table. The data is whether updated correct or not. So when I run this, you cannot see the data. So let me put this message box here. So I'm taking this message box and I want to display that message box data. So just I updated the same thing. So if I run this, so I'm not able to see that output. So let me put debug point here. So I keep the breakpoint here. So execution has been started. So you can see this here, debug the main file. So now I will just go to this immediate panel window and data table. So I'm able to see the data here. So when I want to display the data in message box, it's not appearing. So just check this. So it's saying the table name itself. Okay. So if you want to see the data in the message box, for that, what you need to know, you need to do that one step. So just go to this activities again and take output data table. So you can see this output data table. Okay, here you want to mention the data table. So my data table name is data table. And again, go to this properties here, right side, and see this. So the output should converting to the text format. So then I will go to here for creating a variable control plus K and creating one variable which is called output data table. Okay, this is done. Then you can mention this output data table. So now you can see the data in message box. So I'm just running the same thing. Why it's not going? Okay, I'm running this part again.
Yes, now it is.
No, no, it's not. This is a previous one.
Okay, that is the data
Ah.
data table. Okay.
So now you can see this in the message box. Last time you see that in the message box is just data table. Now you can see this data
Yes, yes.
table as the data. Okay, you can see this
Okay.
all the data available here. So whatever the data, you can just come and display here. Okay. Now you got this point now how we can create the data table and how we can display the output of the data table.
Okay.
Okay, you got the clear picture of this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Any doubts on this one? How to build the data table, everything?
No, first we have to build a data table. After that, we have to give the data input, and then we have to create a new data table with the output data table name, and there we have to make a new variable. Sorry, the new variable will be inside the build data table activity only.
No, not like that. I will tell you. So you first activity which is called building the data table. That should fine.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to
Okay.
see the output. So right here, I want to see
Mhm.
this output. So that's why I'm using this output data table activity.
Okay.
Okay, if I
Okay.
don't want to see the output, then I don't want to use this activity. It's not required.
Okay.
Okay, this is a thing, just you want to understand this concept, how we are displaying the data table in the message box.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so just drag and drop build a data table activity, and whatever the details you want, you can update this here. And if you want to see the output, you can just convert this data to the output data table, and same thing you can update here.
Okay.
This is a one way which you need to create this data table. Okay, and now I'm showing the second method. So basically, I have this one Excel file here. Okay, now I want to display this output. So actually, I have the input on the Excel file. Now I need to read this data. Okay, once I read this data, I need to publish on the message box again. Okay.
Okay.
For that purpose, we are using read Excel data activities. So just go to these activities and just check for Excel application scope. You can see multiple things. Then let me go to read range. So just take the read range workbook, drag and drop, and you can mention this here workbook path and the sheet name here. Okay. Just go to here, copy this workbook path and update here. So here I updated the workbook path name.
Okay.
This is done. So if you don't know the sheet name, just go to inside of this. You can take the sheet name from the Excel workbook. As of now, sheet name as sheet 1. By default, it will build a sheet 1. If it is having some different name, you can take that as it is. Okay, and you want to see this range here, just keep it as blank. Okay, and go to here properties. In these properties, we can see the same things here. So sometimes you can see here options. So if you want to get the header as well, then just click on this add header. Okay. So now here password is there. So sometimes we have some Excel files which is having the passwords. So just update that passwords. Okay. And output. So whatever the data is available, this data enter I want to save with the one output variable. So now here I will create as already data table I created. Now in the same data table variable, I created same data. Okay, now I'm disabling the downside activity. Okay, rest of the things, all the steps are same. Okay, now I'm running this part. So as of now, it's taking some time. Basically, it won't take that much time. And it depends upon the your mission, everything.
Sir, here the variable that you have created data table, inside
Hmm.
that 3 columns are there. Okay.
Yes. Forget about
Hello.
this one. I disable this comment. Now it won't work now.
Okay.
Forget about
No,
this.
no. In the output data table also, the variable you have taken is data table variable.
This data table which came from the read range workbook.
Okay.
Got my point?
Okay.
Okay, like that we can display this output again. So this is
Okay.
how we can read the data from the Excel file.
X. Okay.
Okay. And we have text files as well. This is a notepad. So now I want to read this data from the notepad. So just go and take this here. Another activity which we call read CSV. So just drag and drag. Okay. And update this password. Sorry, update this file path. And I'm disabling this the read range activity. Okay. Then I go to here data table. So I will just create the data table. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
When I run this,
Sir, for disabling, what you have done, sir, for
Control
making it
D.
as comment?
Control D for enabling.
Control D. Okay.
For disabling
For
Control
enabling
D.
control.
For disabling Control D. For
Okay.
enabling Control E.
E. Okay.
Okay. Now just running the same thing.
Sir, can we read that text file and Excel file both at a time?
At a time, it's not possible. Okay.
Okay.
We need to do it in separate way. If you want to read data from the Excel file, so you need to use the Excel file activities. If you want to read data from the CSV file, so you want to read as a CSV file format. And you can see the output message box here. Okay.
Okay.
You got this point. Now, these three things I updated you. So the first one,
Yes.
what I given here, let me put correct order. So the first one, what I tell you, show how we can build this data table. Okay. And second one, I explain you how we can read this data from the Excel files. Okay. And third concept, I explain you how we can read this data from the CSV file. Okay. 3 points are clear now, these three things.
Yes, sir.
And Upendra, you also got clear now? Upendra, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm listening.
Yeah, this the concept is clear now.
Sir, I have a very silly doubt.
I already have a because little bit clear, right? So I don't have any doubts as of now.
Okay, if you have any doubts, just unmute and
Sure,
the
Pawan,
question.
definitely.
Yeah, Gautam, you
Sir, I'm having a silly doubt. Sir,
Yeah, tell
if
me.
we can read the data from an Excel sheet, then what is the need for building a data table here?
I will tell you. So sometimes you don't have any data.
Okay.
Okay, this is the one concept. How we can create a
Okay.
new data table. You got it? Sometimes user will give the some inputs.
Okay. If they are submitting any form or anything, or they are giving the
Correct,
data
correct.
somewhere,
Okay,
so we can
those
take
data.
that here. Okay.
Those data we can build a data table and you can store the data. Okay, and sometimes we
Okay.
are getting data from the Excel files, or sometimes we are getting the data from the CSV files. Okay, it depends upon that criteria. Okay, for that purpose, we need to use these type of activities, how we can store the, read the data, store the data, and how we can build the data.
Okay.
Okay, clear these things.
Yes.
Okay, now this is the one step is done. So second step, what I have builded this data now here, I builded this some data table here. Okay, this data I want to save into some Excel files. Okay, for that how we can do that?
Okay.
We will see that. So for that I am taking write range. Okay, just take this write range and update this path here. For example, I will show you one more thing here. So as of now, I make it as sample. Now I will take this path and I will change the workbook. I will make it as test. Okay. And I created the sheet. So here I want to sheet name as data. So you can create anything. And here my data table is data table. And I'm
Okay.
disabling the downside parts. This is not required. If you want, you can disable all at once also. So now I created one data table, which already we created. I'm using the same data table. And I want to save this data table into the one Excel file. Okay. And I created the path and sheet, everything is done. So now just I run this and you can see here, there is no Excel file, which is we call test. I'm running this part. So you can see this here. When it is start, you can see this a debug started for the main. And execution has been completed. So just go to this outside on the bottom and just open this. So you can see this execution has been completed. Now I'm going back to this folder and we can see the test. So once I open this and I can see this data. So as of now, you are not able to see these headers because just go to that Excel file, UiPath Studio back and go to this properties and you can see these options. So add headers. Okay, now I'm closing this file again. And the test file is already created. So now I'm running the again. So if I run that, it appended data. So whatever the data is there now, it's just cleared the data and appended data.
Okay, got it.
So now I'm going back to here again and I open that Excel file and we can see this data here. Okay.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes, sir. From there, can we change the data formatting? Like if we have to make something bold or something like that from there itself?
These and all not that much feasible with the UiPath. So for that purpose, you need to learn the VBA.
Okay, okay.
So we can do that, but Balreva activities are there. Those activities which we are not using right now.
Okay,
We can do some third party, go to this here and you can install some Balreva packages and we can do that.
Okay.
So that those are flexible with the VBA. You know that macros. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So those are
Yes, sir.
familiar with those activities.
Okay,
So any doubts on this concept, how to build this data table, how we can read this data?
No, sir. No,
Everything?
sir. All is clear.
Okay. So now most of the variables part has been completed. Only one thing is pending, array. Okay, now I will
Yes,
show
sir.
this array. So already what I told you, array is a collection of data. Okay, which stores that data. Now I will just go to this array. So if you want to see that array, we need to use some loops. We have for loop is there. So just go and take this for loop for each row in data table. Why I'm using for each row in data table? Because my data is available in the data table. Okay. Now just I'm dragging this activity. And here I want to update this data table. Just go to this properties and we can see this here. So you can see this all the things here. Okay. Now I want to see this data here. So for that, I'm taking message box. Okay. In this message box, I will take this current row of, I will tell you how it will work. So for here, every time data table, it's having some index. So this index will start from the 0. 0, this is our 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, just remember that every time index will start from the 0. Okay.
Okay.
Now I will take one more downside. So I will put here 1. So my first column name is name. Just I will update it here name. So that it should be in the double quotes. So if you want to concatenate both, you should update the plus symbol. So plus symbol which is used to the concatenate the data. Okay. And so here next is age. Okay, already I have built the data. The same data I'm looping this. So where it will use now, you have the fund. For example, you have one form. Okay, which you need to update the data one by one. So for that purpose, we are using the loops. Okay.
Okay.
Now I will run this is in the debug mode. So better to run every time in the debug mode. I mean, until you learn very good knowledge on the UiPath. Later you can run whatever it may be, it's fine. For the starting purpose, just go to with the debug mode itself. Okay. Okay, now it is completed. I'm just moving in step into, and we can see the name. So we built one data table here, no? Name. So Gautam. So when I click on next, it will move to the next iteration. Okay, just I'm closing this, and you can see the age. So what I declared here, my age is 27. Okay, next it will go to the another name. So here we can see the another name is Asses. I declared here as Asses. So it will keep on so how many rows are available by default. It will take that. Okay. Okay. Now here you make got one question. So how we can get that rows? So just type data table dot rows dot count. So use this activity. I mean this small kind of function, or we can just click on that, and you can see this data table row count. Okay, you got this.
Okay. Okay, for getting that which row data it is showing here. So
No,
we
no,
have
no,
to
no, no.
write that
Not that,
concept.
not that. So how many rows are there here
2.
as of now? So if you want to get the rows count, so we need to use data table dot rows dot count. So this is a small function. So once you enter this function, you can see this count.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that means how many loops it is going to use.
Yeah,
Then we
similar
can
way.
find it.
Similar way. So for example, I will show you here. So just I will read the sample data. So already I have that sample data now. So now I'm reading the sample data here. This is sprite range now. Okay, let me stop this bot. So this is read range. I will keep on this top side, and I will just go to inside of this data table, and I will just change this data table name. So I'm updating just data table 1. So now I'm doing two things. So already I built the data table, one data table, and reading the data from the Excel file. These two things are there. So let's come to the for each activity, and I will tell you what is a data table rows dot count. Okay, now already which we checked for the data table. So now when I click on this for data table rows dot count, we can see the count is 8. Let me go to this Excel file, and you can see this count. How many are there?
8.
So that count we can check it.
Okay.
You got it? So this will
Yes,
help
sir.
for the filter conditions, those and all. So for example, once you filter this data, so after that filtering the data, how many rows are there? If it is greater than 1 rows, then you need to go and fetch the data. If it is not there, then you don't want to go and skip to the next point. Clear?
Okay.
Okay, this is done. So now I will tell you how to filter this data. So just go to this data table again. You can see this filter data table. Okay, just take this data table, and here you need to update this data table. So I'm taking data table 1. So in this data table 1 only, I have the bunch of data and configure filter. So if you don't know anything here, just go to this Excel file. And here I have the names column. So take that and column here having the names. You need to keep the criteria. So here I want to is equals to what is having. So I want to equals to keep this access. So just I want to filter with the only the access data. Rest of the thing I don't need. So this is done. So after this data, filter data, so where you want to store? So I want to store in another variable. So just open in advance and I'm creating filter data. Okay. Just click on this. Okay. This is done. So now I'm disabling couple of activities here. And I'm running this bot again. So data has been read from that and it update the filters. Just type is here filter data. And you can see this. I just filter with the name of access. Okay. If you want more filters, you can add this. I will show you that as well. If you want more these filters, you can just add here right side here. So you can check this and or. So we have only the two conditions and or. So similar way you can add multiple things. If you not required, then just click on the cross mark. So it will it will delete that line item. Just create one more data table here, and I will just mention it as and here I will mention one more thing. Let it be. And here I will create data table 1. Okay, this is just I'm showing how we can merge these two data tables. Okay, previously I'm reading this data from the Excel file. Now I just created two data tables and merging those. I'm rerunning the bot again. Okay, now I will show these two things. In data table, what I have this data, only 2 lines of data. In data table, I have, see here. So it's merged.
Yes, sir.
So now data table has been merged. You got this point? So this is the way how we can merge this data.
Okay.
Okay, and I am stopping this execution and go to these activities. You can see couple of things here, like add column, add row, build data table is already done, filtered is done, for each row data table is completed, and you have the couple of things here. So like remove data column, remove data row, you can just try from your end. Okay, what are the activities?
Sir, add data column. Add data column means if we are having, for example, in a data table, we are having 3 column and we have to add a new column.
Correct. We can do that.
Sir, okay, but the thing is, after 0, between 0 and 1, I have to add a new data column. So that can be done there. Is there any configuration?
You can just drag and this tag done. So every time it will add at the end of it. So you can see that. So combination of append column name you can create and give the data table. Okay, just try from your end. Okay.
Okay.
And if you have any doubts, you can ask me. We'll explain you that as well. So just why I'm saying means at least if you everything if I say no, so you won't practice. So that's why I'm saying just practice.
No, not necessary. We will track it and we will ask if any doubt is there.
Yeah, just try from your end and let me know if any issues are at any point of time. So I will try to explain and clear the concept of this.
Okay.
Okay, now this is completed. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, make sure to hit that like button, share with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to turn off notifications so you never miss an upload.